What up, world? Established Rich coming right back at you. Today's conversation is not about a musical battle. It's about decisions, accountability, and what happens when people say yes to things they never believed in. Camron said something recently that had a lot of people calling it real. He said he should have never done the Verzuz battle against the Lox. He said it was the wrong decision, and he warned people not to do it. On the surface, that sounded like wisdom, like a man looking back with clarity. But when I sit with it, I don't hear wisdom. I hear regret that came too late. Because if you knew you didn't want to be there, why did you show up like that? That's not a small question. Look, I can respect the man who say no. I don't respect the man who says yes with his mouth and no with his effort. That's how groups get embarrassed. When you agree to something you don't believe in, you don't prepare the same. You don't practice the same. What do you think somebody doing in rehearsal when they heart ain't in it? You think they staying late? You think they sweating details? Or you think they just checking the box? Just showing up so they can say they was there? Because that's what half commitment looks like.
And the verses from just being in it. I want
to do that. You're trying to go viral. Let's do it. You're trying to go viral. Let's do it. Brooklyn, let's do it.
We here.
Yeah, we want your perspective.
On the stage in the moment.
Yeah.
How that went?
Really kill shit, because I know we really got hits in New York City. It's like, damn, there's no way we could lose if we going to.
Then Kiss turned into Bruce Leroy, too. Yo, Kiss turned into Bruce Leroy.
That night on that stage was not about hits. It was not about legacy. This was about who really came ready. The Lox walked out there like they had something to prove. They walked out there like they wanted this moment. You could feel it before the first record drop. Dipset walked out like they was obligated, like they was doing somebody a favor. And when that show energy, the result is already decided. People keep saying, if they would have done everything right, they could have won. Okay, but that's the point. Why wasn't everything right? Things ain't wrong by accident. Sloppy performance comes from sloppy preparation. And sloppy preparation comes from a lack of belief.
The Lox was considered underdogs to me, which they shouldn't have been. They had music, and I think that because Dipset is so flamboyant and we got great music, we got anthems, and when we go into stadiums or clubs, people sing along, I think that people were underestimating the music that the Lox had, the features they've done over the years, the work that they put in.
The Lox are a group. Dipset is not a group. Dipset are three superstars that come together as Voltron. You know what I'm saying? We form a group sometime. But like, we didn't come up like writing raps together. Like, I almost think they write their raps together type. Like, they really like, they carry themselves like a group. Like, come on, I mean, back-to-backs. Like, me and Cam never went back-to-back, or like the way Jada and Styles went back-to-back. Like, you understand what I'm saying? They got real back-to-backs. Like, they back-to-back is like, only one of y'all wrote that verse. I don't think two of y'all. Like, they back-to-backs are so in sync with each other that you don't even think that could be two people.
I can't think enough in no top of my head, but absolutely, 100%. You know, you've been doing this 30 years, so you have to make decisions that's best for yourself. But I can name a lot of decisions that wasn't good because I was trying to be a team player. You know what I'm saying? Like, I told...
That's it. Yeah, that's a good...
Yeah,
go ahead.
Like, yo, I should have never did the verses. I told don't do the verses. I don't want to do the verses, but I'm a team player, and it was the wrong decision that I made. No more of that. No more of that.
Yeah.
No more of that. So
Yo, Killer, when I was watching the verses, the only thing I kept thinking, I was like, yo, if you would have done the takeover after Kiss did Who Shot You, it would have been a different day, Killer.
Sam, I had a whole freestyle ready and all that, but nigga, listen, man, it's crazy, man. But yeah, I try to be team players a lot of times. And that's the first thing that came to my brain when you said wrong decisions.
Beliefs. I've been in situations like this in real life. Well, I wanted it more than everybody else in the room. And I thought my drive would be enough for everybody. I thought if I went hard enough, everybody else would fall in line. What I learned is that type of thinking actually makes people go softer because they feel like you got it. Your hunger becomes their safety net. Your discipline becomes their excuses. And without realizing it, you lower the standard for the whole group. This is why I don't buy the team player card all the way, because sometimes being a team player means saying, this ain't for me. There is nothing noble about showing up half ready. That's not loyalty, that's negligence. Because when you come unprepared, you don't just make yourself look bad, you make everybody associated with you look bad. And that's the part people don't like owning. Saying after the fact, I never wanted to do it, don't make it better. It just confirms what everybody saw. Honesty after failure is easy. Honesty before commitment is what actually takes courage. And that's what was missing. Now look, this is where we take it past the stage and into real life. Because this ain't just about music. This is about what happens when people with history start coasting with it. Success has a quiet side effect. It makes people think their presence is enough. That the name, the past, the resume is gonna always carry the moment. But history don't practice. History don't rehearse. History won't save you in real time. When you've been popping before, you start believing you can float. You start believing you ain't gotta practice like a man who got something to prove. And that's when the game catch up to you. This is what he really admitted without saying it. Not, I shouldn't have did it, but I didn't come in like it mattered. And that's not a small difference. That difference shows up in practice. It shows up in how serious people take the mission. When you the guy that don't really want to be there, everybody can feel it, even if nobody says it. Conversations get shorter. Expectations get lowered. People stop checking you the way they would if they knew you was all in. Now, let me say something that hurt a little bit, but it's real. Sometimes you showing up does more damage than you staying home because you take up space when you don't bring full effort. Space in any room is currency. And when you occupy it half ready, you waste more than time. You wasting momentum. This is why groups fall apart slow. Not in explosions, but in shrugs. It's cool. We'll fix it later. We'll figure it out. That language is how great ideas die. And then after it collapses, everybody got a statement. Everybody got hindsight. But hindsight don't rebuild nothing. It just makes people feel smarter after the damage is done. This is why I disagree with saying this out loud years later. Not because it ain't true, but because it don't serve the people who stood next to you that night. When you move like you ain't all in, you set a ceiling. And everybody else has to adjust to it. You ain't gotta say I don't care. Your actions say it for you. And actions talk louder than regrets. This is also why the contrast was so loud that night. The Lox didn't just come for a show. They came for respect. They came prepared. They came sharp. They came like they wanted to win every round. That ain't an accident. That's intent meeting opportunity. That's what happens when everybody in the room agreed on the mission. On the other side, you saw what happens when history stands in for hunger. And hunger always wins that fight. The lessons go way beyond rap. I've seen it in business. I've seen it in relationships. I've seen it in creative teams. One person wants it bad. The other people just showed up. And everybody acts surprised when the results don't match the potential. Potential don't mean nothing without willingness. Willingness shows up in the work, and the work don't lie. So the real message here is not, don't do things you don't want to do. The real message is, don't pretend. Don't occupy space you're not ready to honor. Say no early. Say no honestly. Let the people who really want it step forward. Because showing up half-ass ain't leadership. It ain't loyalty, and it ain't wisdom. Wisdom is knowing when you win and having the courage to admit when you're not. That night was not iconic because of who lost. It was iconic because it shows what happens when you show up unprepared. And that lesson don't age, it don't retire. And it don't care how long you've been here. If you show up all the way. If you ain't, get the hell out the way. Everything else is just noise. But hey, that's just my opinion. What's yours? Like, comment, subscribe, establish rich. I'll be back with another one. Peace.